Good morning, students. In the last class, we have discussed about the composition of nucleus and discovery of neutron and size of the nucleus. Okay. Now, in this class, we continue with that. As you know, nucleus consists of protons and neutrons. Okay. So, obviously, the mass of the nucleus is equal to mass of the sum of the mass of protons plus sum of mass of neutrons. So this is the mass of the nucleus. So as protons and neutrons are the constituent particles of the nucleus, so the mass of the nucleus is the sum of the mass of the protons plus the sum of the, or we can say sum of the mass of the individual nucleons. Okay. So, but the observed values of nucleus is always found to be less than this sum of the nucleons. Okay. So, and this difference in mass is called mass defect. Suppose if you take an example, suppose helium-24. So, as we know, this is the atomic number and this is mass number. So, number of protons is 2 and number of neutrons is also 2. The total 4 nucleons are there in the helium nuclei. So, as we know, the mass of the proton is 1.00727 AMU and that of neutron is 1.00866. Okay. Now, if you calculate the mass of this helium nucleus, so you have to add the mass of the 2 protons plus mass of the 2 neutrons. That means if we multiply this with 2, so we get mass of the proton. That means total proton mass is appears to be, we multiply with this 2, 4,541,002. And similarly the neutron mass, total mass of the neutrons is, we multiplying with it is 2, 3,7,1,0,2. So this is the total mass of protons and this is the total mass of the neutrons. So total mass of the helium nucleus of helium is equal to, actually it is 681,304. That means the mass of He nucleus is calculated as 4.03186. This is the AMU. All this in AMU. But the mass of the nucleus is found to be mass of the nucleus is found to be 264. And this value, this means observed value or real value we can say. The observed value of helium nucleus, mass of the helium nucleus, is found by a device called mass spectrograph. So from that instrument or from that device, we can measure the mass of these isotopes, So we can determine the mass of the nucleus by mass spectrograph. So from that calculation, from that observation, the mass of the nucleus is found to be this one. Actually calculated one is this one. That means 4.03186. But the real value of the nucleus is observed to be smaller or lower than that of the calculated one. So this is the calculated one, this is the observed one. So the real mass of the nucleus is always found to be less than the sum of the individual mass of individual nucleons, and this difference in mass is called mass defect. Okay, and this, and here in this case the mass difference is 2 this is 9 2 0 0. Okay, so approximately this is the difference in mass. That means 0.02922. This is this AMU. This is the difference in mass, but calculated to the observed one. And this difference is called mass defect. And this difference in mass is converted into energy while a nucleus is formed. That means if these 4 nucleons combine to form helium nucleus, energy is released, and that energy is called binding energy. Okay. Now when all these nucleons combine to form a nucleus, some amount of energy is released, and that amount of energy is called binding energy, and that binding energy is given by mass defect into c square. That means this mass defect is converted into energy by Einstein equation E equal to mc square. So the amount of mass defect is converted into energy, and that energy is called binding energy. So how we can define the mass defect is, the observed or the mass of the nucleus is always found to be less than the sum of the mass of its nucleons, and this difference in mass is called mass defect, and this mass defect is converted into energy, and that energy is called binding energy. And binding energy is defined as the amount of energy released when a nucleus is formed, or energy released when nucleons combine to form a nucleus, and that is called binding energy. And the binding energy and mass defect are related by this equation. Delta E is equal to and write delta E is equal to delta mc square. This amount of energy is released. Okay, in other words, we can say the binding, that means binding energy is the amount of energy released when nucleons combine to form nucleus. Similarly, we can define, to separate the nucleons in a nucleus from a nucleus, that means to split the nucleus into constituent nucleons, the energy required is also called binding energy. That means if we supply the same amount of binding energy to a nucleus, we can split the nucleus into its constituent nucleons. So binding energy is defined in 2 different methods. One is the energy released when the nucleons combine to form the nucleus, and also the binding energy is the amount of energy required to split the nucleus into its constituent nucleons. Okay, and the binding energy and mass defect are related by this equation. So binding energy delta E is equal to mass defect delta m into c square by Einstein mass energy equivalence. Okay, now if you consider this case, the amount of energy released during the formation of this helium nucleus is the mass defect 0.02922 AMU into this c square. So we can calculate, for example. So the difference is 0.029 into 2 into c square. Actually this is in AMU, so we have to write kgs 10 power minus 27 into c square, that is 3 into 10 power 8 whole square, velocity of light whole square. that is 0.02922 into 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27 into 9 into 10 power 16. This value we get in joule. To get this value in electron volts, we have to divide it by 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. We will get in electron volt. So assume that we are calculating approximately, so this will get cancelled, and minus 19, this is minus 8. So minus 8 and this is plus 8. So the remaining value is this one. Suppose if you want to express in million electron volt, then this is 0.02922 into 9 into 2 into 10 power 6, sorry, 10 power 2 into 10 power 6. So writing this as, this is 2.922 into 9 into 10 power 6, that is MeV. Now multiplying this, approximately we take it as 3. 3 into 9 is 27 electron volt. So 27 MeV. This is the binding energy of this particular helium nucleus. Okay, that means to break the nucleus, helium nucleus, into 2 protons and 2 neutrons, that means to break the nucleus of helium into its constituent nucleons, this much amount of energy is required. That means if we supply this much amount of 27 million electron volt, then we can split the nucleus of helium. Similarly, we can say if these 4 nucleons, that means 2 protons and 2 neutrons combine to form helium nucleons, this much amount of energy is released. Okay, so can define the mass defect and binding energy. So mass defect is the difference in the calculated mass of the sum of the nucleons, or calculated mass of the nucleons or sum of the nucleons to the actual mass of the nucleus is called mass defect. And this mass defect is converted into energy while forming a nucleus, and that energy is called binding energy. So binding energy is defined as the amount of energy released when a nucleus is formed, or energy is required to break the nucleus into its constituent nucleons. So this is binding energy and mass defect. Okay, so while calculating general calculation, how we can calculate the binding energy is, suppose if you take a nucleus of atomic number Z and mass number A. So for this, as symbols they has usual meaning, that means Z is equal to number of protons and A is equal to number of nucleons. That means protons plus neutrons. So we can write number of neutrons. So A minus Z is equal to, this is the sum of protons and neutrons. If we subtract protons sum, then we can get number of neutrons. So Z is the number of protons, A minus Z is the number of neutrons. So the calculated mass of the nucleus is, we can write like this, Z into Mp plus A minus Z into Mn. This is the calculated mass. For any problems or anything, we have to calculate in this way only. Okay, the sum of mass of the protons and sum of the mass of the neutrons, sum of both protons and neutrons. This is the mass of the nucleus. And if M, capital M, is the mass of the nucleus as calculated by mass spectroscope or mass spectrograph, then the delta M is equal to, that means mass defect is equal to this one, that is ZMP plus A minus ZMN minus actual mass M nucleus. So this way we can calculate delta M. Okay, So mass defect mass defect is calculated by this relation, and binding energy is equal to delta E is equal to delta M into C square. So we can calculate by that relation. Now so for example, 1 AMU mass is converted into energy. Assume that 1 AMU amount of mass is converted into energy, then the energy is equal to mc square, we can write. So 1 AMU means 1.67 10 power minus 27 into c square is 3 into 10 power 8 whole square. Okay. Now if we write this energy, we will get in joules. So if we divide it with 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, we get in electron volt. Okay. But assume that this is 1.6 and we can directly cancel out. And this is approximately. So this is 10 power minus 19 and this is 10 power. So that is 9 into 10 power 16 into 10 power minus 8, that is 9 into 10 power 8, that is 900 into 10 power 6 electron volt. So 10 power 6 electron volt, we can write it as 900 MeV. Actually I have made approximation, but if you take this 6, 7, this is also into consideration, we will get this value is about 931.5. That means if we take the exact value of AMU, that is 1.660565, if we take this value, then exact value we will get is 931 million electron volt. So if one AMU of mass is converted into energy, then the amount of energy is 931.5 MeV. This is the amount of energy. So usually in doing problems we will neglect this 0.5. So we will simply take 931 MeV. Okay. So when 1 AMU of mass is converted into energy, the amount of energy is 931 million electron volt. Okay. Now we define two definitions. Packing fraction, and this is defined as the mass defect per nucleon. So mass defect is the difference in the masses of calculated mass and the original mass of the nucleus. So that is mass defect. So this defect is for total number of nucleons. If we calculate it for one nucleon, that means if we divide it by mass number, that means mass defect per nucleon for one nucleon is called packing fraction. So packing fraction is defined as mass defect per nucleon, or we can write like this, delta M by A. Similarly, binding fraction. And this is defined as binding energy per nucleon. That means binding energy divided by its mass number. So this is actually binding energy is the energy released when all the nucleons combine. For one nucleon, if we calculate it for one nucleon, then it is called binding fraction or binding energy per nucleon. So, okay, total binding energy divided by its mass number gives binding energy per nucleon, and similarly, and the binding energy per nucleon is also called binding fraction, and packing fraction is defined as mass defect per nucleon, and this is binding energy per nucleon. If a nucleus having lower value of binding energy or binding energy per nucleon, BPN, binding energy per nucleon, or BE per BEN, what we can say. If a particular nuclei have binding energy per nucleon is lower value, then that particular nuclei is unstable or less stable. Higher value of binding energy for a nucleus indicates more stable. Okay, you remember this point. If a nucleus having binding energy per nucleon is less, means it is less stable, and higher value, it has a higher value, means it is more stable. Now the stability now the graph drawn between binding energy per nucleon and mass number versus mass number. Now the graph is drawn like this. So on x-axis mass number A is taken, and on y-axis this one, binding energy per nucleon. And these values are in MeV, million electron volt. And now here we take 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. Okay, so taking the mass number values on x-axis and binding energy per nucleon values on y-axis. Here the binding energy per nucleon is 2, 4, 6, 10. This indicates million electron volt, and this is simply number 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. The graphs, the binding energy curve for different mass numbers versus binding energy per nucleon, the graph will be like this. Now from this graph we can say there is no nucleus having 10 MeV. So maximum value of binding energy is for at this point, and this corresponds to 56, that is Fe 56. Means iron has the maximum value of binding energy per nucleon is, for iron it is about 8.8 million electron volt. So from this graph, the highest value of binding energy per nucleon is 8.8, and that is for 56, Fe56. That means this iron nuclei is more stable. So this is more stable. Okay, from the graph, the mass number 56 corresponds to iron, and that for that particular mass number, the binding energy curve, the binding energy per nucleon is maximum. Okay, so that this iron is more stable. Next, if you observe the graph, the average binding energy of all the elements, because all the elements, all the nucleus has a binding energy in between. Actually, if you observe this, most of the elements, most of the nuclei has nearly equal to 8. You see this graph, near to, either slightly greater than 8 or slightly less than 8. So, and for these elements, these are far below. Okay, so the average of all these elements, the average binding energy of all these elements is found to be 7.7 MeV. That means average binding energy of the elements or nucleons is 7.7 electron volt. And if you observe the binding energy curve for elements in between, nuclei of mass number between 30 to 170, there is no sudden variation of binding energy. That means there is sudden variation. That means 30 means from here itself. So there is no sudden variation, slightly increasing and slightly decreasing. So there is no sudden variation up to 170. That means in between these two, there is no variation of binding energy per nucleon. Sudden variation is, so this almost constant. So the elements or nuclei in between these two mass numbers, that means in between 30 and 170, are more stable. And from 150, 170 onwards, this binding energy is decreasing and slowly decreasing, and above 200 it is very less. So if you consider the elements of new mass number above 200 and below this 30, the binding energy is less. Whereas in between these two mass numbers, in between 30 to 170, the binding energy is approximately constant, and these elements, thus these nuclei, that means the nuclei whose mass number is in between these two numbers are stable. And if you consider this part, that means in mass numbers less than 30, we observe peaks like this. That means the binding energy per nucleon of two neighboring elements is different here. Suppose if this is for H1 and this is He4. Actually, I will write the values. So actually helium, first this is hydrogen H1, it is 1.1 MeV, and for next one is helium here, and that is for helium it is 7.7 MeV, and next one this is lithium, and for lithium it is 5.8 MeV approximately, and next one is this one carbon C12, and for this it is 7.8, and next one this is nitrogen, this is C and this is N. For N it is 5.48, sorry sir, this is 7.7, and this is oxygen, it is 7.9. So these are the values here in these peaks like this. So if you consider the neighboring atoms of helium and hydrogen, this is a sudden variation between hydrogen to helium, and lithium is again decreasing, and carbon increasing, and again nitrogen is decreasing, and oxygen is increasing. So out of these helium, carbon, nitrogen and oxygen are nearly equal to 7 or 8. So out of these elements, these are more stable because their value is their binding energy per nucleon is very close to 8 or average value of 7.7. So these elements are stable in for mass numbers less than 30. Okay, for the remaining nuclei, the binding energy is less. Okay, that means below this 30 mass number, nuclei are not stable, and similarly above 200 are also not stable. So, but the elements or nuclei above the mass number 200 has a tendency to break up into two nuclei to form stable nuclei. That means they have, and this is called nuclear fission. That means they have a tendency to break the heavy nuclei into two smaller stable nuclei, and that process is called nuclear fission. And for the elements, for the nuclei below the mass number 30 has a tendency to fuse together. That means two lighter nuclei fuse together to form a stable nuclei, and this process is called nuclear fusion. So the elements are nuclei having mass number greater than this 200 has a tendency of nuclear fission, and the elements below 30, the mass number below 30 has a tendency of fusion, and the nuclei in between these two numbers, in between, that means in between 30 to 170, they neither undergo fission or fusion, they are stable. Okay. Now we will define the another one also, the nuclear stability. Nuclear stability, according to Heisenberg, nuclear stability depends on if, according to Heisenberg, if the number of protons and number of neutrons are equal, suppose for a nucleus the number of protons and number of neutrons are equal, then that particular nucleus is stable, more stable we can say. That means the proton neutron ratio equal to 1, that means number of protons equal to number of neutrons, then that particular nucleus is more stable. And similarly, if number of protons or number of neutrons are both, number of protons or number of neutrons are both are even numbers for a particular nucleus, if number of protons or number of neutrons are both are even numbers, then that particular nuclei is also more stable. And another condition is there, if the number of protons or number of neutrons or number of protons are equal to these numbers 2, 8, 20, 28, 50, 82, 126. If the number of protons or number of neutrons is equal to any one of these numbers, then then the nuclei is also more stable. Okay, if the number of protons and number of neutrons are equal, then that particular nucleus is stable. Or if number of protons and number of neutrons are both are even numbers, then it is that particular nucleus is also more stable. And if the number of neutrons or protons is equal to any one of these numbers, then that particular nuclei is also more stable. And these numbers are called magic numbers. Okay. The stability of atom, stability of nucleons depends on these three factors. If the proton-neutron ratio is 1, then the particular nucleus is stable. Or if the number of protons and number of neutrons is even, in that case also the nucleus is stable. And if the number of neutron or number of protons are equal to any of these magic numbers, then that particular nucleus is also more stable.